Good morning, YouTube. It's your man, all the way George Page, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, you know what? This month's gonna start pretty good for women in combat sports, especially for boxing. As you know, boxing has been kind of on a bit on a drag since last year with COVID. A lot of fights were canceled. Some fights didn't happen, and we're still not getting fights we want to see, unlike in May. But for this month, there's some fights coming up pretty good for women fights, and women's boxing, and we're getting some fights that some we want to see, some might, you might not know it coming out, but this is going to be a great year for it. There's a tonight is the pay-per-view event of a all women's card, which, well, it's not a complete all women's card. The prelim have two men's fights, but the pay-per-view itself is all women's card, and that is Shields versus Decare, and that's gonna be on. It's gonna be in held in Flint, Michigan, where Khaleesi's had most of her fights at the Dort Financial Center in Flint, and it's gonna be live on pay per view at 9 o'clock. Also, you can catch it on demand and some other. And I think also it's just a big event because. And I'm post the if you want to get a connection to it, I'll post the a link in the description later. So if you want to see it yourself. But this is a big fight. It's two unification championship between Shields and the current another undefeated fighter by the name of Marie-Eva Dicaire from Quebec, from the country of Canada. And these two ladies just had a press conference the other day, and also they had their weigh-ins. And I'm not too much of a big fan of Claressa Shields, but she is a pretty good fighter, and she has been, even though her mouth has been getting into trouble more as she needs to, and then she's also making the transition from boxing to MMA. She is, been doing pretty good as a fighter. She's 10-2 with 10 wins and 2 knockouts out of her 10 wins, and she has a impressive record. Decare, who I don't know much about, she's 7-0, 17-0. That's pretty good. That's undefeated. And this is for 152, which is, I think, is a welterweight championship they're fighting for. I think it's the Decare's championship. And you all know, Claressa is a self-proclaimed GOAT. And I do give it to her. She is one of the greatest. She's not one of the greatest all fighters, but she is a pretty good fighter. She's been representing boxing for a great long time. I know a lot of stuff the things she's done outside of boxing and the things she's been saying, but you still gotta give the woman her credit and her due. And this is gonna be a great event for women's boxing because it's gonna be pay-per-view all women's card. Like I said, it's not really a full women's boxing fight. It's two men's fight, but it's on a prelims, but it's just the main women will be fight on pay-per-view. So I would suggest check it out. If I know spending a little money, I think it shouldn't be too expensive. I hope they're smart. You don't have to do like Dana White and try to charge your arm and leg to watch his fight. Come on, maybe the most $20, maybe $30, and people will watch it because you know what, people like to watch boxing, especially. I think some of the hardcore fans don't like it. Originally, the fight was going to be on Showtime, but I think Showtime didn't like the idea of it just being strictly a women's bout with only two men fights, and I think that's the reason why they moved it to a pay-per-view. And this is opportunity for women to get attention. Women's boxing has been, don't get as much attention compared to the men, and they do struggle. Like the one thing is you don't see women get the full 3 minutes like men do. And also on next card is another fight. This is a heavyweight fight for the heavyweight WBC WBC silver title, and it is it's supposed to be 8 rounds between Monica Harrison versus Danielle Perkins. Now Harrison, I think she is with one loss and one knockout, and Perkins is 2-0. And Harrison's from Georgia, and Perkins is from Texas. These are some big women. These are not no tiny little waists. These are some big women. I think Perkins here with the scullion. Harrison here with the scullion. She came in about 200 pounds at the weigh-in, and Perkins came in almost 200 pounds. And it's gonna be. I think this might be a slobber knocker if it doesn't get to worn, drained out, but it might be a slobber knocker. I mean, give us that. Also, we have here is between two bantams. It's a 6 round fight, and that's between Sheila Barnett from Toronto versus Marla Espinoza from Houston, Texas. And Espinoza, Esparza, Marla Esparza. She's a former Olympian who holds a bronze medal back in 2012. Barnett is 3-1-2 with a KO, while Esparza is 8-1 and 1 KO. And this is a fight at Bantams, women's Bantam, which is like about 119, 117 for each of them. Here's another big women's Bantam fight, and it's just it's a Numa Vasquez from St. Petersburg, Florida, against undefeated Jamie Mitchell, and she's from Pacific Grove, California. And this is a upcoming fight, and this is also on the same card. And Miss Vasquez is 12-15-3 with 2 KOs. And that's not too good when you have more wins, you have more losses than wins. But that's the fight game. While Mitchell is 5-0-2 and with 3 KOs, meaning she has 2 draws and 3 KOs. And the draws is that she's still undefeated, meaning that even though it's a draw, it's not really a loss, it's not really a win. But I think she should run those draws back if she hadn't, because just to break it. Because I'm like I said, I don't like when you have a draw and you leave that. It's like leaving a fight on the table. Opportunity to see, hey, if the judges, you just had to step it up a little bit. So but like I said, the big attention is going to be between Shields and Dakar, and this is going to be the fight that really probably might even, if this is a good fight and the rest of the fights are good, we might even see some more women fights on pay-per-view in the future. But they have to put up a good fight. And this is one reason why I said that, boxing need to allow women that extra minute. Because I think this is one thing. Women have to be more busy. They don't have 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Now, you'll think that an extra minute makes a difference, but it does. Sometimes I've seen fights where, a KO or just maybe that extra point could have made a difference between a win or a loss. And I think, and Christian has mentioned that yes, they need to give that women extra minute. And there have been fights in other organizations where they have given women an extra minute to fight. And that's fair. We can't use that excuse that women don't have stamina. Women have better stamina than men, truthfully, by genetics sometimes. But it's always about training. Sometimes there's some women who just don't have some great stamina, like Amanda Nunes. When it comes down to the long haul. But there's some women who just can have a gas tank on them. And you got to give these ladies a chance. Now, next up, also coming up, the zone's going to be pretty busy with some women fights. And on the list is, these are some great, by looks, some impressive fights that are coming up. Most notably, next week will be, that'll be like, I think, next, the 13th. That's let me check the calendar. If I'm certain, the 13th, that would be next Saturday. And this is going to be on the zone. As you know, the zone, now we don't have the UFC anymore. I mean, Bellator anymore. All they have is boxing, And maybe they might research Invicta. They should. They might need some MMA. And we have some fights here coming up. Most definitely, the biggest attention is Breckus McCaskill and Breckus 2. And as you know, this is a big rematch. As you know, this is a rematch from last year. As you know, Cecilia, the Iron Lady, the First Lady, Breckus, defending her welterweight title against Jessica McCaskill. And these two ladies have been on. This is going to be also on the zone on the undercard of another fight. And these two ladies have been going back and forth on social media. As you know, I follow Jessica on her and her trainer. Ramos, he talks a lot of, BS about Cyborg. I don't like the dude. But anyway, this is going to be a big event. I mean, the last fight, it went back and forth. I mean, it was a pretty good fight. I saw it, and McKesky did pretty good against Breckus, and then I think she just totally, I think, took Cecilia out of her game, and just put on a good fight and a good defense. And this is she won. She broke Cecilia's 36-0 record. Now Cecilia is 36-1, and you can't stay defeated forever. That's you're not Floyd Mayweather. You're not Roxy Marciano. There's some fighters that eventually lost, but like I said, and now she has her titles and plus some of Cecilia's titles. But this fight is a big major event for women's boxing, and I think this next to the you know, Cecilia, Calissa versus the card. It's probably one of the biggest fights that's going to be coming on, but this is going to be on the zone. And also another fight is also going to be also on the zone is this is yeah, Annabelle Ortiz. She is a champion versus an up and coming fighter by the name of Sinisa Estrada. And some of you might not know her right off, but Miss Estrada is famous for a fight she had about last year, where she knocked out this lady here 7 seconds in the first round. That's Miranda. I forgot her name again. I think it's what was her name? Sometimes I don't always remember the fully research. Sometimes I just really put things together. But let me look right here too. I think just she knocked this lady out the first second on the first round, and this is Miranda Atkins, and that was a controversy. Some feel like Atkins wasn't prepared, but from what I read about this chick, she already was fighting. She was 5-1, and this was just maybe I don't know, maybe a case of the jitters. You can't say. I mean, it was just a quick knockout. I mean, she's already but it's just maybe I don't know, and it's just a bait there. And also another fight. This was also on the card. Is also Vanessa Carriabro versus Ramonda Ali. And this fight was supposed to happen last year under Joshua versus Polovic, or whatever his name is. The last guy that Anthony Joshua fought. And that fight was canceled because Ali here was positive for COVID, and they pushed the fight back to March. So this is also going to be around the 20th. Both these two fights will be set on the 20th. On they're both going to be done over in England. So the other fight is going to be on a different card. It's going to be on the same day, but on different cards under the zone. And the fight I just mentioned is going to be on the first fight between Estrada and Ortiz are going to be that night here in the United States, while between Calabro and Ali is going to be at 5 o'clock in England. So it's going to 5 o'clock our time, but whatever time it's going to be done in England. It's just you got to remember there's different time zones between England and America. And also there was a fight that was supposed to be on that same card along with Ali and Calabro was Melissa Hurricane Hernandez versus Danielle versus not Danielle versus Chantel Cameron. But the problem was that Miss Cameron had come with an injury, so that fight has been canceled. But a good chance that maybe might bring it back. I know Miss Hernandez for some time. She's been boxing for a long time. She boxed some legends. I think she also fought Amanda Serrano, some other fighters you might recognize if you look at her history. But she's been in the game for quite some time, and it's been a while since you've seen her fight, professionally. But women fight. Sometimes women boxers may not fight for maybe 2 or 3 years because it's hard to get them contracts. When the last time, other than her last fight, when the last time you saw Hannah Gibbons fight? It's almost been like 3 years since she fought Clarissa Shields, and I'm no wonder why giving her more fights. There's some good fighters who were sitting on the sideline because of the bad promotion, prejudice against female boxing, and just not finding the right opponents. And here's also another fight that's coming up, and that is Danielle Ramirez versus the real deal Amanda Serrano. And this is a pretty impressive fight. This is fight here. This is a good thing about this fight. This fight is going to be on NBC Sports, and it's going to be on March the 25th at 9 o'clock. And it was that long ago that Serrano fought on NBC Sports. She fought on a card with along against Dalia Santana, which ended the first round TKO. And this is gonna be, I think this is gonna be a pretty good fight. Ramirez has a pretty good record. She's also a champion in her own right, and she's from Argentina. And she's been in the fight games quite some time. All you got to do is like follow her on social media if you find her. You can go to certain boxing sites. You also check ABC Sports, NBC Sports to have information, and other sites somebody who know about Miss Ramirez. But she's from Argentina, and she has a pretty impressive record. I didn't get all of it, but like I said, I've been putting this thing together with so much information. I didn't want to sit down and waste all y'all's time. But the rest of y'all who are real Fox fans can read research it. And we all know about Amanda the real deal. And she's been in the game quite some time. She hadn't fought since I said her last fight with Dalia Santana, which she won in the first round KO. And then she supposed to have fought Katie Taylor, but we all know what happened with that because of the issues with promotion. Mostly the problem was Eddie Hearn. Oh God, I think he protects his fighters. Especially Joshua and Taylor. And Amanda Serrano was supposed to fight her, but that fight was canceled. Then Katie Taylor fought Daphne Passoon, and also there was supposed to be a fight between Amanda and Jelena Menderinovich. If I can't say it right, I'm sorry. Her and Jelena were supposed to fight because Jelena was her mandatory opponent. And somehow that fight was canceled, but some reason I don't know. Either money reasons, fighting out where they wanted to fight. I just don't know. It seems like these two fighters are running away from Amanda Serrano. Amanda's pretty suppressive. Also, Amanda's also another fighter who's involved in MMA. And maybe if with the right promotion, she was supposed to be fighting with America Patate, but something happened with that. I don't know. Maybe she can get up with Invicta now since they're no longer with UFC. Maybe get some fights under them. Maybe help her out her way up into MMA. So anyway, and this fight is going to be like I say in Puerto Rico, San Juan, and it's going to be on March 25th. And this is just, I think it looks like it's going to be a pretty good fight. I mean, this is like I say, women's boxing is going to be doing pretty good for this rest of this month. There's probably some more fights out there. I couldn't find them all. There's a lot of fights you may not see because they don't get a lot of promotion compared to others. You got fights in Mexico. You might fight fights overseas, and especially with things going on with COVID and with restrictions and stuff like that, it's getting pretty hard to get boxing up. People have to be careful. And also fights can be canceled because if somebody tests positive for the virus in your camp. But like I said, this is gonna be a pretty good pretty good month for women's boxing. But let's hope the rest of the year is better. Like we know, like Katie Taylor, we most definitely she needs to fight either fight Amanda Serrano or fight Jessica McCaskill. Or like I said, right now, Christian Shield needs to really train for her debut in MMA. I think she needs some more time to train. So she might need to sit out the rest of the, before she starts fighting with PFL. Maybe train some more, and maybe like I said, get that fight with rematch with Hannah Gabriels, and also get that fight with Savannah Marshall. Those two fights are probably more important to her than jumping to MMA just yet. But like I said, women's boxing needs a lot of attention. And like I said, the promoters don't care about it because of their idea of what women should be at. We all know what Stephen A. Slickback said, but we don't care about that. He's just an idiot. He don't really pay attention to combat sports like he should. He's more of a football, basketball guy. That's what he is. He's not really, I don't know why they even use him for commentary in MMA fights or boxing. That's not his wheelhouse. Stay where you are, Stephen A. Slickback. Talk about playing basketball or throwing football. You don't need to talk about anything outside of that. So anyway, I would say recommend check out the upcoming fight tonight between Shields And the car, if you got to pay pay-per-view, that's good. If you want to find a bootleg and watch it, that's also good. Just that it gets the attention for these women, on any kind of form. It's your man, all the way, George Page. Like, don't subscribe, don't subscribe. I'm out.